Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this big spinning ball of... My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And we've got a special event for you today. So you've released your music, huh? What now?
Stumbling in the dark, light flames without a spark, so blind and so naive to understand what's going down. I get my car, past behind. I've been drinking on my own and I'm sinking like a stone, saying nothing down the phone and I've got nowhere to hide. I've been hanging on the line, pushing buttons all the time, always waiting for a sign and I've got nowhere to hide. Extraordinary lies, deceived 1,000 times. I'm wide awake, it's crystal clear to see what's going down. You can get your cars, it's your last goodbye. I've been drinking on my own and I'm sinking like a stone, saying nothing down the phone and I've got nowhere to hide. I've been hanging on the line, pushing buttons all the time, always waiting for a sign and I've got nowhere to hide.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the show. And yes, that was the fantastic Indigo Sunsets, and that was Sinking Like a Stone, which is their latest single. I hope you are all doing well. Hey, if you're watching on Facebook, what are you doing? Crazy. Get over here to YouTube at youtube.com/JadeStarr, or you can jump over to the browser at howtoaponios.com, and you can watch the show in there as well. As I said, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a very special guest today, and it's not so much an interview about his music per se. It's more, like I said at the beginning. So you have made your music. You have uploaded it to DistroKid or wherever you're releasing it. What do you do now? So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you an excellent musician in a brilliant brain himself, a wonderful human being. Welcome to the stage, Andy Goldsby. How are you today, Andy?
I'm great, Jade. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, all good. I'm awake at 8 a.m. We're ready to go.
Good start. Good start.
All right, so I just want to go into first how this kind of came about. So I got a message from you. You were looking at perhaps doing a message on Facebook or something like that, talking about this. And then I said, why do that? You can come on the show and talk about it live. So we jumped together into what's that app called that we've been hanging out in?
Clubhouse.
I keep forgetting the name. Pete's forgetting the name all the time as well too. And we workshopped this, had a chat about it for a bit over an hour or so, and here we are today. So the first question we're going to talk about today is, and then we'll get and say hello to everybody, is, I think, what do you want from your music?
It's a massive question, isn't it? It is a massive question, and I really don't mind admitting. I mean, for those of you who are not familiar with me or the band, I work in partnership with an awesome human being called Stu Cashmore, who is really the brains and the talent behind the Indigo Sunsets. And when we started this, we had no clue what we were going to do. It was purely based on us filling a bit of time during lockdown. I probably mentioned to you before, Jade, we were doing all these collaboration videos, sharing them with our friends on Facebook, and then suddenly we stumbled across GarageBand and started recording music. And we really hadn't asked ourselves that question initially. We were kind of like, well, this is really cool. And then we started sharing it and people started reacting to what we were doing. And I think for us, we came to really realize that the whole purpose of this wasn't certainly not to, get a multi-million-pound record deal or anything like that, but it was just to share a bit of us with other people. And when you put so much into your music and you put so much of your blood, sweat, and tears into writing and recording, and then finally releasing something, it no longer belongs to you, does it? The music, it's out there. It belongs to people. And what I was now looking for is for people to connect with me, and that's the whole reason why I do music. And Stu feels the same too. If we can move somebody and they connect to us, we've done our job as far as we're concerned. And really, going into it with that mindset, there's kind of led us down the path that we're going to talk about on this show now, is how we ended up sharing our music, why we were sharing our music, and then ultimately how we went about it to ensure that we could have those connections with more people. And these maybe people we'll never meet. We won't even know they've listened to our music. But if we are getting a reaction from people listening to our songs, then that's such an amazing and powerful thing to do. If we brighten somebody's day up, or if we have somebody just stop and have a little think about what we've just produced, or it moves somebody, or whatever reaction you get, that's got to mean more than umpteen streams and millions of dollars and the hotel rooms in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
just about.
That stuff doesn't really happen anymore. That's the thing, it's a thing of the past. We've moved to a different place. Look, and if you are creating music, I think that we were talking about this before the show. I think one of the fundamental things you've got to really laser focus in on at the beginning is you want to be writing it for yourself first, before anything else. You want to get pleasure from writing it. You want to create music that makes you happy, that makes you emote, that makes you excited about it, And only then will it matter to someone else once you let it free into the world? Because it is like a child that you bring up. You know, anyone who's got children will know you nurture this thing, you feed it, you mix and master it, you clothe it, you school it, and then you say goodbye, I'm sick of looking after you, go and make your own freedom.
Well, that's right. That is right. And, you know, I'm in a real advantageous position working with Stu because we get to feed off each other. And we know if we're getting excited about what we've done. I mean, there's nothing I love more than getting, you know, the access to the file and listening to what Stu's added on top of my guitars for the first time and the buzz that gives me. And if that then translates into us both completely loving what we've just produced, we kind of think, well, maybe somebody else is getting a bit of a feed off what we're producing as well. And then to hear the feedback of people who react to the music, you can't beat that feeling. You cannot beat that feeling of people connecting with you from what you've just produced. So, yeah, we've probably talked loads of times before about how we collaborate over FaceTime. And those are some of the most funniest sessions we do because we are literally buzzing off each other. And we know we're onto a little bit of a winner when we get that reaction out of each other. And then when it goes out into the world and then other people start enjoying what you're doing, and this goes for everybody producing and creating music, if you can get a reaction out of somebody, that's got to be the main motivation for doing this. And, you know, even we're going to go on and talk in a moment about, you know, getting onto radio stations, and we'll mention Spotify playlists later, no doubt. But if it is just purely sharing that music is with the community that we obviously operate with, as GarageBand users, create, record, release, you're sharing things on Pete's show, and that's all you're doing. That's absolutely fine as well, because you're still connecting with people. You're still, you know, able to. It's sometimes harder because you're sharing with your peers as well, those other people who are creating music. But it's a beautiful thing to do, and yeah, if that is all you want to do, just purely share your music on the platforms, get that reaction. That's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's probably a very lovely and pure way of doing it. But yeah, it is really just about that connection. And I think once we finally got our heads around the fact that's why we were doing it, it spurred us on more because we're getting a reaction from people.
Yeah. And don't get sucked into those vanity metrics because they'll do they'll do your head in, man. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to ask you guys in the chat while I'm scrolling through the chat and getting down to the bottom of the list. What do you guys want from your music? What do you want? So feel free to type it into the chat. I'm going to head right up to the top and we're going to scroll through, say hello to everybody. And hopefully by the time we get down the bottom, some of you have written some stuff. Hello to Gary Hubbs, welcome along. Ed B, SM Borthwick is here as well. Oh, Andy Goldsby's here, what a surprise. Nina is there also. Scott, hello, we had a good chat last night, me and Scott. Lady Rodelane Street, Pound to Get is here. How can I forget? Doctor's orders! Seaside is here. Seaside Soul. Let's keep scrolling down. Colin Powell is here. Who else? Maury P, hello to you. Cold Acre, so watch out everybody, you're going to get banned. John Frank Songs, hello. Alex Bacchus. Who else do we have? Russ is in the house. Stu Cash, the other half of the band, is here as well. So welcome to you, Stu. Very good to see you, my friend. Lots of love to you. Who else have we got here? Scrolling. Which is always good. Lucky I've got glasses on today. Alex Bacchus, we've covered you. Pete Johns, hello, Pete. Welcome along to the show. Tom Rochelle. Let's see, I know there's a lot more people because I've seen you further down the list. Thomas Gillane Music is here. Joey Helpish, a morning buddy, hello to you. Let's see. Oh, I do know there's a few other people and I'm slowly getting through. Let's see. Ed Zielinski, hello to you. Kim Hudson is here also. If you've seen anyone, Auntie G, hello to you. Deep Gravity. So there's a whole lot of Dean Thomas, welcome aboard. If I've missed you, I'm trying to. Synth Widow is here. Hello, Joe. Danny Broderick, good to see you. Adam Burse. Josephine is here as well. And I think we're close to everybody there. If I've missed you, put a carrot in the chat as well. Let's get down to some, if anyone's written anything here. Asdi is here as well. Gary Hub says, I want to make strangers type bro. Is that what you want from your music? Sai says, I think if you're trying to make music for someone else, it would be really obvious and unfulfilling too, I guess. So we've got a couple of people writing things. Dean Thomas says, obviously I want people to listen to my music and I'd like for it to be successful. I would also like my music... I would also like it if my music created opportunities for me to work with other people. SM Borthwick, in many ways, sharing somewhere like YML is harder because you're sharing largely amongst peers who create exceptional music and have greater analytical skills than average listeners. And there's a pineapple and a carrot and a few things like that. But let's jump in to our second point because everyone's here and there's going to be a lot to think about. So, you've released your music. Andy, what's next? What now? What do we do?
Well, you know, the easy thing to say here would be world domination, but that puts a hell of a lot of people off immediately. So, yeah, it was something that we really struggled with. I just need to give a massive caveat here. You know, I'm not coming on this show as somebody who has got millions and millions of Spotify streams. I mean, you know, sure. Christ's juicy in the sides of our distro get account. It's not that big. But you know, this is just me sharing my experience from the last few months. And really what triggered it was when we were interviewed on your show, Jade. And we were, you know, again, asking ourselves, well, okay, what do we do next? What is next? And you said, well, get yourselves on the radio. And I was kind of like, okay, well, if I need to get myself on the radio, how do I go about doing this? What do I need to set in motion? I don't even know how to approach it. I've got no clue how to phrase an email or dress the tracks up or any way to reach out to these, you know, internet radio stations and terrestrial stations. So, yeah, we were starting from complete scratch at the beginning. And do you know what? We've also started. We released in October, and we've got no fan base whatsoever. Yeah. We've started from absolute zero, and this got me thinking. We're in a really strange place at the moment because the music scene's unrecognisable at the moment. There's no live music that we can certainly go and do in the UK at the moment. Normally what we would be doing is trying to get out, get gigs, get a local fan base, hopefully get that on a local radio station and build from there. But we've had to take a much more global look at things. And of course, communities like, you know, like yours, Jade, GarageBand, Create, Record, Release have given us exposure to people from all over the world and made us think probably a lot wider about who we can actually contact. And yeah, we've had a lot of success getting our music onto the radio stations, not just in the UK but all over the world. And I think the approach we took was just to really stop for a moment and think, okay, I can't just paper bomb all these radio stations initially. I need to get everything in order. I need to get everything sorted out. So we started, and you know, we'll come on to this in a little bit about the process. But we started building up in terms of a little biography that we could write. How were we going to approach radio stations? So obviously thinking about a bit of a template email. And also getting our tracks in order as well. And a big tip I can give everybody here, and you're probably going to hate me for saying this, because you work so damn hard on your tracks to get them sounding good. Now you have to convert them to MP3s, which is not going to be helpful. And another tip as well is when you do start the process of uploading, make sure your tracks are labeled properly as well. That's a huge tip, because there's going to be nothing that's going to turn off a radio station, no matter how small they are, from playing your music, is if you just literally send them the file and half expect them to know what the track is. So you've got to go in, change the properties on your track and make sure it's properly labeled, your artist name, the genre, the album title if it comes off an album or an EP. You must do that, because first and foremost, it shows that you're actually quite professional in your approach. You've taken your process very seriously. So yeah, I think it's really initially thinking, okay, we're going to go out there and we're going to start contacting these radio stations, you've got to get yourself organized first. And like I said, we'll come on in a moment, talk about the email and the bio you need to put together. Then it's really, for me, it was about doing research. And a hell of a lot of research. And, you know, you go on and you get a list of all these internet radio stations and local radio stations. There's no point sending your stuff to all of them. You've got to be really quite picky with who you're going to choose, because, you know, if you're a country artist, there's no point sending your stuff to a hip hop radio station, for example, for a start. Secondly, you listen to these stations as well. You know, I've spent hundreds of hours before I even started sending our stuff out, getting to know these radio stations, getting to know the sort of acts that they're putting on. And if you hear something that resonates with you, you think, actually, my music probably would sit quite well with that particular platform. So it's going to be an awful lot of research you have to do, a lot of listening, but that's a joyous thing, because you're discovering new music yourself while you're doing that as well, and picking up ideas. So really, the groundwork is where it all starts. You've released, and now it's kind of, right, let's start getting myself organized now. Let's start doing my research, ensuring that I'm listening to these radio stations and picking up the types of artists and bands that they actually have performing. And then you start shortening it down to a good list of radio stations. You think, you know what, these are the ones I definitely are key for me contacting.
Yeah, look, you put so much effort into creating the music, writing the songs, making the music, setting up your distribution, getting all that done. You've got to put in as much time labeling your songs when you convert them to MP3, even getting the right software and going and watching those videos to learn how to do it, to encode the artwork into your MP3 as well, which is really easy to do with like really free software like Lame Encoder, things like that, where every track that you send to the station is named absolutely correctly, has the number of the song in it, who you are, the track, and it has the image in there. It just looks beautiful. So spend the time to do that kind of stuff. It's super important. And exactly what you say about like finding the stations. Don't just look for a radio station name. Like, listen to the station for a day. Like, it's, you know, listen to a bunch of them for a few hours. Get an idea of what they're playing, because, you know, you don't want to be played with. If you're some death metal band, you're certainly not going to be on a band that's playing Jay-Z. It's not going to work. They're not going to play your music. And, you know, time is free, and it's incredibly valuable time, and we don't have enough of it. So use it wisely, invest the same amount of love and energy and time into doing that kind of stuff as well. It's definitely the way to go. In fact, you know, doing that, and look, I use the same method. I want to be this counterpoint to Andy as well for the way I've run this show in the last 7 months. You know, I put together a template of emails that I send out to developers, to hardware creators and stuff. This is how I'm able to get the codes and get the apps to do the show. So I have a very set way. I make sure everything looks right. I put in the right links to the developers to show them that I'm interested in what they're doing. And I think getting their product on my show will be beneficial to you guys. So I work the same method as what Andy's talking about with working radio stations. Do your research. Don't fall down conspiracy holes. And do your research on stuff about music instead of microchips in your arms.
And do you know what, Jade? I think as well they'll very quickly pick up on the fact that you haven't done your research. If you know, just litter bomb with, you know, that sort of email, you know, hey, we're whatever band and we're here to create world domination and we're going to be the best thing you've ever heard, you know, that sort of attitude. Yeah. Dropping that email into them, it just comes across that you've given no thought to them, their radio station and their audience as well. And what people have to remember is a lot of these internet radio stations are just people who love music. Yeah. People who just love independent artists and are taking a lot of time and a lot of effort for no money trying to promote you in the best way that they can. So you've got to show them that courtesy, and that courtesy starts with doing your research in the first place and ensuring that you are the right fit for them, and you honestly believe, actually, yeah, I can hear myself on this particular station. And that's where it all starts. All of it starts. So once you've polished up your tracks, I hate to say it, this is probably where the hard work does start. Yeah. And it's about getting your ducks in a row, getting all your materials set up correctly. And I keep saying we'll talk about the sort of materials that might help. But then you do the hard yards in terms of listening, researching, getting to know these stations, and at that point you'll understand. Actually, yeah, I can see us on this particular station, and you'll put the effort into ensuring that your tracks get on there at that point.
Yeah, because you've got to remember, these people also get thousands of emails a day with generic, unprepared shit that doesn't stand out from the crowd. So when they get an email from somebody who looks like they've put in the time and effort and actually researched the station, know what they're getting themselves into, this is a massive flashing light to say, oh, wow, I'm interested in putting this artist on my radio station because they seem like they give a shit. So, I mean, if you look like you give a shit, people are going to respond to that and give a shit about you. You know, it's not too hard to understand, folks. We're just shining a little light on it. So do you want to jump into the process? Because, look, before we do that, I remember after you first came on this show with Stu, we had that chat afterwards, and I remember I did say, I was like, no, man, your music is gun. It's absolute gun. Like, you already have the keys to get on the radio. This is banging stuff that nearly everybody I know who's heard your music is like, oh, wow, they're awesome. So you're already on a winning ticket. Now you just got to bomb those radio stations and get it to them, and they're going to go, wow. And I didn't really give you much more of like how to do that, but just go seek radio stations, go do that, because you've already got the magic keys to start it. And, you know, even if sometimes you may think your music doesn't have those magic keys, the presentation and how excited you are about your music is enough to push that sausage over the hill, you know? So...
No, I agree. And that really resonated, though. I remember you saying it. You didn't say much, but you were saying you've just got to get it on the radio. And I was it caused a bit of panic in me to begin with, because I was kind of like, you know, we hadn't actually asked ourselves that initial question: what do we want to do with our music? What next? I'm sat there thinking, well, you know, we've had a lovely reaction to our album. We've done the album launch. We've been interviewed by Jade. It all seems to be going well, but is that it? Yeah. And I remember having that feeling in terms of, is that it now? Do we just move on to the next album, or what do we do? And it's when you said you've got to get on the radio stations, made me think, okay, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense to me now, because we've created this music for all these people. We've got a great reaction. We had a brilliant reaction from our live album launch, and yeah, it was kind of like, well, we want that to carry on, but we can't just restrict it to the people who've already heard it now. We need to get it out there a little bit more. And that's where, when you said that, I panicked. I did panic. I was kind of like, oh my God, okay, how? But then you started looking at it from I suppose, a logical step, which is, okay, well, yeah, I need to approach these radio stations. I need to approach, people and say, okay, I think this is a track, and I think this is a track that will fit and suit your particular radio station. But it all came from the research.
Yeah. Research is key, definitely. I'm just going to paste, because Ed Zielinski's put a question in there for you. I'm just going to save that for a little bit later, because I've got a notepad open to do that. Prepared much? And Gary Hubbs has written here, whatever it takes to push that sausage over the hill. Now, there's a reason why I said that. Because if you take the sausage to the top of the hill and push it over, it becomes a sausage roll, man. Get it? You're on a roll. You get on a roll, man. That's the way it works. We all want a sausage roll. All right.
He's made me hungry now.
Yeah, I'd love a sausage roll right now. God, oh man, damn. All right, so let's talk about creating a bio, photos, website stuff, templates, all that kind of thing. Let's talk about that. How did you approach it after we had that conversation? How did you get that on the ball?
Well, again, it's sort of thinking that, you know, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of bands out there creating music at the moment. There's thousands of people releasing stuff on Spotify. So, you know, it's not so much thinking, well, how am I going to stand out from, all these other bands? I mean, the reality is you're not. You just have to recognize that these people who are going to be listening to your music have not got that much time. Almost think of it, in terms of you're applying for a job and they're asking for CVs or resumes, as they like to call them in the States. you've got to keep that brief, keep it down to the absolute bare bones of what you're about. So they also, when you're going for a job interview, it is purely the key facts about you. What makes you different? What's going to make you stand out? And keep it brief. And that's all it really is. There's two things you need to really be looking at producing. Firstly, you need to get some images, and this is where me and Stu were completely screwed because we were in lockdown and we were not able to meet up properly. See, I mean, the fact is, yeah, that's not a pretty shot at all, but it'll do. It'll do. It shows he's a man who plays. He's a man who plays a guitar. He looks mean, and he's got a little star behind him. How cool is that? So, but it kind of gives a bit of a flavour for what we're all about. Stick a picture of Stu up. He's far prettier than me, please. There you go. That's the man. He's the man that sells it.
But how did you get these images? These are not taken like,
No, exactly. These were just purely screenshotted off our video. There was the only thing that we could do because we couldn't meet together. So I just went through and thought, these are actually quite cool shots that we've already put the time and effort into producing this video. So let's just, take a screenshot. And I think they really actually represent what we are about. That I think that probably can.
Oh, where'd he go? Did I lose him? I've lost him. Let me check my Skype. Is everyone still here? This happened last time he was on the show too. Where are we? So he's frozen. So I'll see if I can call him back. We'll give him a call back because he's frozen. Let's give him a call back. These things happen, folks. Let's try this. We'll give him a call back. Do. Now he's not answering. Oh no, I'm stuck by myself. Hey, you back?
I am on my phone. Let me hang up. I'll see if I can get through onto the video.
All right.
Just give me a second.
Cool. All right, folks. Well, these things happen. I don't know what it is. Every time I have either Stu or Andy on, boom, it all crashes. Let's pop over to. So, I'll wait till he gives me a message back. Oh yeah, we love technology. But look, what I know Andy was saying here is he's using these photos that were just still images from the video that he's made. So that's really, really cool. You don't need to have a photo studio or anything crazy like that to create these amazing photos. That's the point of. Hey, he's calling me back. Nice one. Should be back with us any second now. There he is.
Oh, there we go. I've had to go phone wise. All
right. Let me see if I need to reshape everything now. Let me just fix this up. Live. Welcome to live TV, folks. I'm surprised the actual phone's working. I don't know how you've got the phone working. I've never had it working before. So here we go. Let me just reshape. Okay. So that's one chat. Let me just fix the other one. You can keep talking while I'm doing this if you want to keep going. So we'll and I'll just fix up all these camera shots.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Scale that down. I thought, in terms of, let's just set you up there so I'm a little bit sort of. Can you hear me? Okay, by the way.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, I think moving sort of. I was talking about obviously getting the
photos here, yeah.
But yeah, the photos all sorted out, and just starting to produce what's called a little bit of an electronic press kit, really, which is kind of your bio, your email that you're going to send out to a lot of these stations, but also as well looking at getting your tracks in order. And I said earlier, getting your tracks sorted on MP3s. Some stations will take WAV files, which is great, but again, just making sure they're all properly, I suppose, labeled up. Key for me, though, as well, and this is something a lot of people probably don't think about, is doing stingers. And if people aren't too sure what we mean by a stinger, it is you introducing your own song.
So if you've approached a particular radio station, what you are effectively doing is saying, hey, we are so-and-so from the Indigo Sunsets. This is our track, Sinking Like a Stone, here on whatever the radio station is. It just has to be a very quick 10, 15-second bit of audio that you send out with your track. And in doing that, you're actually providing the internet radio station with a way of introducing your song as well. And again, makes you look very, very professional at that point.
Yeah, look, stingers are a fantastic idea. So I know a lot of people probably wouldn't have even thought of stingers before. So basically, yeah, and you would have heard them before on the radio. You know, hi, I'm from this band and this is my new song and all this blah, blah. But we live in an era where a lot of the internet radio stations have no hosts. You know, so sending these ahead of time with your MP3s, it certainly gets the radio station much more interested to have those stingers available and to generate hype. So it's definitely you know, I'd have forgotten about that myself.
It takes literally 2 or 3 minutes just to get a track down. I mean, you know, I'll just quickly use GarageBand, speaking into the iPhone sometimes when I've done one quickly, and it's purely just introducing the song, introducing the band. Giving a shout out to the radio station you're on, and there you go. That's your stinger. Something else that could help as well is producing a little bit of a show reel of your stuff. Yep. In particular, if you want somebody to get a bit of an idea of you know, who you are and what your sound is, submitting one track may not be enough. So if you put together literally a minute's worth of a compilation of your songs, that really helps as well. It gives a real good idea in terms of what your sound's about, who you are, and sometimes that can be helpful just to you know, pique the interest of a particular station as well, who may be again just questioning, well, you know, who is this band? Remember, they get thousands of people trying to contact them to get on their station, so it is really about trying to find that little way of giving the best of you in the shortest possible amount of time.
Yeah, definitely, and creating a small 1 minute YouTube video with a bunch of your songs put on there, like 3 songs, and just with your contact details on the video. Just nice and simple, your logo and your contact details. And if you don't want it showing up on your YouTube channel, you don't have to do that as well. You can make it unlisted. So, but you can send that out to people. So that's another fantastic thing to add as well. Really easy to make. You're already using the tools anyway to make these videos. So it's, you know, an extra, you know, an hour or 2 of your time to put this thing together. So what about in the way of like a bio and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, a bio. You know, I pulled one together. Again, you know, this didn't take too long to do.
Do you want to start with this bio or the template? Do you want to start with this one here?
Let's start with the bio, because this is kind of something that where if you're probably sending more of a speculative you know, request out there, and this is really just takes the form of 3 parts really. First part is really just a brief introduction to who you are and your influences as well, because they're going to want to know what you know, what you sound like, and you know, I've picked up on the fact that you know, we are heavily influenced by bands like the Stone Roses, the Smiths, obviously Oasis and James, and just to give them a bit of a flavour for what to expect when they do start listening to your music. You may notice down the side there, I've just picked up all our album, single covers that we've used on YouTube as well. Again, just trying to keep a bit of a similar brand going there, and just give them a bit of an idea of the scope of songs that we have actually got going on as well. So yeah, you first paragraph there is just literally a very brief flavour in terms of who we are and what our influences are. Then the next paragraph there is just a little bit about us. Again, it doesn't have to be war and peace here. It just has to be something that is very, very brief. Yeah. You know, again, we've mentioned there that we're, you know, 2 blokes from the Midlands. Began writing and recording our self-penned songs, culminating in the debut album. So straight away there, they know where we're from. And they know that what we're sharing with them is our first release. And, you know, I've made a bit of a nod there to our past in terms of, you know, the cover circuit that we were on. But now we've kind of left that behind. And we've found our own voice, and we're focused on what we believe sums up our songs. And this bit I always find it a little bit pretentious, right? And they say hard hidden guitars and subtly crafted melodies, but I think that kind of sums us up, and I felt it was important to get that in there. A little bit of in terms of how people would describe us. And then a little bit about the history there. So, well, the future rather. We're going to be embarking on a second album, and just plan to launch it later in 2021. So again, a good nod that this isn't the end of it. We're going to keep going, and we want you to be on the journey with us by performing our music. And then the key point: contact details. Absolutely,
Yeah.
You kind of need that. And just a little thing I've done there: social media. And I'll come on to social media again in a minute when we start talking about the fourth point that we've got really around engaging with other artists. But you've got to have ways in which people can connect with you. And if you include your social stuff, if the radio station is one that's actually being facilitated by a live DJ, they will read that out. They will make the suggestion for people to go and follow you. And, when that has happened to us, I've noticed, we've had 4 or 5 people actually think, do you know what, these guys are worth giving a quick follow to. And then the final thing there, the Spotify artist profile there. So if they do want a direct link to the music, they can click on that. Other streaming services are available, but we thought we'd go with Spotify because the kids love it.
Yeah, so now this is a PDF, folks, so it's pretty easy to put a PDF together and add links to it, so everything's embedded into the PDF file. That's the beauty of it. Now, I just want to add a few other things to this. What you've done here is really amazing. So, you don't want to write a novel, right? The more crap you write, the less they're going to read. The people see a novel and they just shit the bed and couldn't give a crap about it. They do, and and be bold. Talk about your music the way you feel about it. And if you're struggling for words, many of the people here have had their music played on things like Pete John's Your Music Live and things like that, or Metalhead Hippie Show, or these channels that play music, right? Go through the comments in the replay of the videos and look what people write about your music in the comments. You may think at the time these things are flippant, or like when everyone's going, this song's really good, this song's fire, really love the guitar here. It's like, but going back and sourcing that material it takes the misery. If you struggle with writing that kind of stuff, somebody else somewhere along the line may have already written it about your music, say on the Create, Record, Release group, stuff like that. Look for that stuff and find, like, this is beautiful here. So what you've got here is a collection of songs that combined hard-hitting guitars, subtly crafted melodies. You only need 2 points. You don't need to go guitars with fire and drumming storm from hell, and really. And if you are writing like that, you can write like that, but then strip it back. Pull some stuff out, you know what I'm saying? Pull that stuff out. And, with all the, don't load up your social media stuff. Don't put every goddamn handle you can find on there. If you've got like 5 different Twitter accounts, don't go and do that either,
But that's the key, though, isn't it, Jade? You've got to put on there what you can actually control in terms of social. Because the thing is, if you put up, your 15 Twitter accounts and your 3 Instagram accounts and the various Facebook pages, you will have people reaching out to you, and you will struggle to get back to actually replying to them. And, we'll again come to this in a minute, because I think it was really important about ongoing engagement once we've done this. But that's key to it. So, yeah, absolutely. Keep it sweet. Just enough just to give a bit of a flavour in terms of what you are. And remember, this is all about just making people want to think, okay, let's hit the play button on these guys. Yeah. That's all you're trying to get them to do. If you told them everything, they know everything about you. What you want to do is just tease them enough to think, actually, that music is worthwhile going away and having a good listen to. Just get them to hit that play button. This is what this bit's all about.
And you'll notice, too, like the Indigo Sunsets logo, very simple and elegant and subtle, right? If you're going to create a logo, don't overthink that as well, Look at it. It's a circle with the name, with a circle and a star. It's very simple. So often people get so tied up and like, oh, but it's got to be something, you know. Maybe if you're a death metal band, you want to scribble and make it look unreadable and stuff. That's the way to go. But, you know, you want something simple and bold to stand out. And that's exactly what you've done here. I love when I first saw this, I love the idea of all the album covers down the side. It's reusing stuff you've already made. Rehash the stuff you've already sat down and put effort into, because it represents everything you've already done for the band.
And again, they're just screenshots off YouTube. Yep. I mean, Stu, you know, puts these together on Wizabel. You know, we'll send backwards and forwards a few photographs that we like. Then Stu goes with what he likes, and then sticks them up on the images, and that's all we're doing. So these have all been screenshots off YouTube, and then just put into a little square format and thrown up on the page. So it's not wizardry.
Yeah, very simple. Keep it simple, stupid, as they say. So I want to jump into you've sent me an email shot here as well. Do you want to go there next?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is where you're doing the direct contact. So this is where you've done your research now, and you're reaching out to the various stations and things. And again, it's this very similar approach, really. It's introducing yourself, a little bit about you know, what you've been up to, and a little bit about who you are and what you're doing. But if you go down to the third paragraph there, I think that's really key. Again, it's sort of, we've been listening to some of the artists that feature on your station and thought the attached track called Sinking Like a Stone may be enjoyed by your listeners. This is our latest single released in January. Very simple, but really what I wanted to just convey across there is actually, do you know what? I have been paying attention to your station and listening to the artists. And do you know what? A lot of these artists that I'm now finding on these internet radio stations now are the people that I'm listening to while I'm working away at home or doing the washing up in the kitchen or whatever. This is the new music I'm discovering through these radio stations. So for me, it's really important that you show that actually you've done your research and you actually kind of like what the station's doing for independent artists. And it goes back to my point again. You've got to remember that this person here is, you know, either part of a very small team or quite often not one individual trying to help independent artists promote their music. So they may have a fantastic reach. That's been their hard work. Yep. That's been their hard work and graft over the years to build up that audience base for you as a platform. So you've got to show them a little bit of respect and you know, show them that actually you have paid attention to them, and you do believe that you're in the right place and they're right for you to perform your music for you. So it's, again, really nice, short and sweet. Again, attach the track that's been properly labelled. If you want to show a few images just to give a bit of a flavour for, you know, who you are and what your style is, that could help as well. But just remember, you know, these individuals don't have time to go through War and Peace and read about how awesome you are. No doubt you are awesome, but just give them a flavour and let the music do the talking.
Yeah, for sure. And look, all you guys, you all have this skill already, right? Just think about, like, anybody here who's had their music played on YML. We're at the point at the moment where many of us, myself included, Pete's talked about this too, a lot of our Apple Music accounts and Spotify accounts have all you guys in it. Because we're getting our stuff already played on shows like that, and we're hearing each other's songs. So, and our music lists are filling up with that stuff. It's exactly the same thing here. If you're listening to these stations, let them know you're listening to the stations, you enjoy the music, that it works exactly the same. And you know, and with these templates too, like this kind of thing, you want to kind of instead of just writing a new email each time, you want to write a template that can be interchangeable and you can add stuff in. It still is appropriate for that radio station. You want to write your template that it makes sense, that you can have that, say, this third paragraph here, that's kind of got, we've been listening to some of your artists that feature on your station, and that's about it. And then you leave it open to whatever's going on that station. So, you know, be smart with your template, save your template, put it in a folder, go back to it, use it for your emails and all that stuff.
This is it. I've got a hot folder on my PC that is just purely marketing material, and within it, you know, I've got all the images, I've got all the templates, I've got a list of all the stations and that I've actually approached. Plus their social media handles as well, because when they do get around to actually playing your music, you've got to help them out by actually promoting the fact that you're on the station as well.
Yep.
So the hard work just keeps going. So it's not a case of sending it out there and sitting back and letting it hit the airwaves, even though it's really enjoyable to actually hear your music for the first time. But yeah, reach out to them on social media as well, and make sure that you can be seen to be promoting their music. There are other ways of doing it as well. These are for internet radio stations that don't provide a platform for you to upload your own music to. There are others where they will provide a specific place on the website. I mean, for example, those in the UK, yeah. Absolutely. Those in the UK got the option of uploading to things like BBC Introducing, and you go on the BBC website and it's all laid out for you in terms of exactly what they want from you. So that's actually really quite the easy part. But again, you've got to really give the voice of who you are and keep it very, very brief, and just try and paint that picture in terms of this is us, this is our style, this is our music. Keep it humble as well, because nobody's going to be attracted to somebody who is totally overinflated. The internet stations, whether it's BBC Introducing or other internet stations out there, will provide their own forms. And to be honest, that is slightly easier because the hard work is done for you.
Yep. Yeah, be 100. Don't write a profile that says we are the best band in the world. Like, that's definitely not going to work.
No, because as I quickly found out as well, there are a lot of other bloody awesome bands out there, and this is the whole joy of this whole process as well. Is as you're getting to know, the stations, you get to know the other artists that are featured on there as well. And, my God, some of the music I've listened to since I've been doing this. But I remember you saying, Jade, quite a while ago, you don't listen to established artists anymore. And it's absolutely right. Yeah. The people I've got listening to on Spotify, or I'm buying their albums, these are independent artists who are in exactly the same boat I am. And their music is just outstanding. So it's a real joyous process as well, and you're learning from other artists still, and you're picking up other nuances of music you probably wouldn't be listening to before. So it is actually really a decent journey to go on.
I'm going to add one last part to this, because this is something I've done, and I'm not sure where you guys are up with this, but if you do have the time, and it's not essential, right? Definitely it isn't essential, but create a website if you're able to do so as well. So I'll just bring up my website here. This is where I host everything to do with, so basically my website hosts my music. It has all of my music. It hosts my how to app on iOS.com page. So it's not loading properly right now, but there we go. So it has all my new releases on it and such. Manifesto of who I am. It has music to stream and listen to. It has right at the end there, the last link is how to app, so you can go across to how to app and get all the episodes here. I've got a shop which links to all of my tracks online. For some reason the internet's not working on my page, but you can create a website as well, so that's another thing to add. But let's jump into the next thing about radio stations and researching radio stations and similar artists and stuff like that. So how did you go about the search for radio stations?
It was as simple as researching it on the internet, getting a huge long list down, and then slowly working your way through the various websites, getting a bit of a feel initially for who they are, the sort of music they're likely to perform, and then just spending a bit of time having a quick listen to a couple of their shows. One thing I found has been, and you're going to hate me for saying this, Jake, because I know you've been banned off it, but Twitter's been really, really useful in this whole process. I normally hate Twitter, but, a lot of these stations are tweeting when they're playing a particular artist. So that's providing the link. So that's the time to think, okay, I'll go and have a listen to that now. And you get a feel for the music. So, it really is doing that whole list, visiting the websites first, getting a bit of a feel for what their genre is, what their sort of music they're likely to play. And then at that point, thinking, okay, I need to now go away and actually listen to not just the station, but the artists that are likely to feature on there. again, research through Twitter, because these stations will have their own Twitter accounts, and they often will tweet when they're about to play a particular artist's song. So hop on, have a quick listen. And then you just make a note and think, actually, yeah, that they might be a really good fit for our music. And that's the point then when you do start reaching out to them. And whether it's a direct upload, whether it's a speculative shot with your bio, or just using the email template that we've got there, attached with your track. And just literally keep it open, keep it breezy. And as we found in our experience, you know, they'll come back to us and they will play your stuff. It's been absolutely incredible. You've smashed to give you all, yeah. Well,
we got your music played on BBC. This upload process. You got your music played on BBC. I was blown away by that.
Honestly, I've been on holiday in North Yorkshire when we had a little window inside the lockdown, and I got back late on a Saturday night, and Stu had sent me a message saying we're on BBC. I'm like, no, not. I was like, no, we're on now. And I put it on, and I think it was Raging Waterfall that they played. And honestly, the buzz I got then was incredible, absolutely incredible. But again, this isn't sort of me trying to big up what we've done, but just to give guys a bit of confidence that if you take the right approaches, it does work. We started this process late October, early November with uploading. We're still being played every single day. I don't think there's been a day where we haven't been played somewhere.
Yeah.
At one stage, not long after when we started the upload, we were on 7-8 times a day, which was unreal. And then finally, I think it all culminated one Saturday. We were on 3 different stations at the same time. I couldn't keep up. It was just so joyous. But it just shows that I wasn't expecting this. If I'd have got one play, I would have been over the moon. I would have been absolutely over the moon. But because we took this approach and got ourselves organised, reached out to these stations in the right way, and actually acknowledged their hard work in this process as well, I think we've done okay. I think we've done all right. I'm pleased.
Look, and I was blown away that you got played on BBC. I just kept thinking back to our chat after the interview going, yeah, get on the radio. And then seeing that was like, oh man, that is just so good. and you know, here's the other thing too. Don't be afraid, folks, to if you're following Andy, you know, and this is a friend of yours, so you like his music, and you see him getting played on the radio, go and look at that radio station and see if that's going to work for your music as well. These, you know, if you've researched heaps of stations and you're like, oh my God, yeah, look, because here's the deal. Radio stations aren't against you. Get that thought out of your head. They want music to play on their radio stations, be it terrestrial or internet. They do. And the world has changed. So you've got to start getting into that mindset of everything's controlled by these globalist record labels and everybody gets burnt and you can't get your way in there. Just think, for all the negative stuff that happened in 2020 with the pandemic and stuff, the world has changed. There are opportunities where there hasn't been before. So, you know, taking those steps and not being afraid to put yourself out there. Stations are looking for music. That's their business. Like, they play music. If nobody's sending them music, they don't exist. You know, as I saw James Cold Acre write earlier in the chat, does terrestrial radio actually still exist? I haven't listened to it. It does. And I think because people have kind of stopped listening to it, there's been less music coming. There's more opportunity to get your music in there. And you don't have to go for commercial stations on terrestrial. Go for independents. Go for...
the biggest buzz we got was one radio station. It's called Big City Radio, based in Birmingham. So it's local to us. And they picked up that track "Sinking Like a Stone," and they'd done a pre-recorded show, but they did it actually with a DJ. And he played the song, and then he picked up on the fact that we were from Birmingham, and then started talking about the city. And he could imagine that, you know, driving down the Soho Road in Birmingham with the windows down, blasting that song out. That was probably the best buzz we've had, actually, having it listened to, and that was on the air. That was on terrestrial. Okay, it was you know, within a small catchment area of Birmingham, but you know what? They are out there, and they are willing to give independent artists a good shot and let their music be heard. And then when it comes with that little comment as well, which kind of attaches it to a place, Yeah, that was for me the most gratifying play we've actually had. Really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, look, with terrestrial radio, start local. Exactly. Start local. You know why? Because local bands, local radio stations love playing local bands because you hear them. Like, we've been, My Music and Nick Hamby and Pete Johns, we've been getting terrestrial radio airplay every Saturday for the last, 3 months here. Every Saturday. It's been fantastic. And it's local radio. But you can tell the host, David, who runs Casey Beat, fully each week is like, hey, these are local grown people. I found these people. They're like just a stone throw away from me, you know. And it's like with local newspapers too. You know, you can get a story about your band in a local newspaper. Super easy, a really easy thing to do. And that generates interest as well. That's a whole nother story, but that helps with radio too. So we've covered looking for similar artists, researching radio stations on Twitter and stuff. But I really want to get into this kind of now because we're gone an hour so far. And what I will say before we get into this last question, because it is regarding the community, there's a new social app that is on iOS at the moment, and many of you may have joined us on it, called Clubhouse. And it's really hard to get you all on here because it's an invite only at the moment. But we're slowly trying to get people out. So if I can send an invite to one of you, like I sent one to Scott last night here in the chat, and then he gets 2 invites to invite somebody else. But at the moment, we have to use a mobile phone number to get you in. But what's great about this little Clubhouse thing is it's a voice-activated little chat group. You can create rooms. And so after tonight's show, we're going to open up a Clubhouse room. So if you're following me at Jade Starr, me and Andy are going to be in there hosting a room. So if you want to come in, we'll answer a few questions, whatever you want. You can come and take the stage with the microphone and come and join us and ask more and be a part of it if you want to get more information. So that's called Clubhouse. If you don't have Clubhouse, check, and if anybody in here in the chat does have an invite willing to give away, connect with that person in the chat. We're all warts. Connect with each other, so we'll do that. And that leads me to the last point for today. So this is about supporting each other, networking with others and artists, and we all rise together. How have you applied that with, and how important is it?
This is the most important part, without doubt, because you know, gone are the days of where you pitch up a battle of the bands and you'd be eyeballing each other across the room in terms of, you just know full well they're going to be shit and you really hope they're going to be shit because you're up against them. Those days are gone now, because I think there's a realization that we're all just trying to do the same thing, and which is just put out our best possible music and connect with each other. So for me, supporting each other, whether it's retweeting or sharing, or just making sure you acknowledge when somebody's been on a radio station themselves, that's the important thing to. And I'll tell you why. There's two individuals, Gary Hubbs and Glenn Clark. We had I had a quick conversation with them a while back now around this very process, getting out there onto the radio. And I just shared again a couple of tips and a few links that I thought might help them. And I celebrated their time on the radio just as much as I would do with my own music. I was jumping around the room when I knew that Gary and both Gary and Glenn were going to get played, because I knew they were going to get that feeling I was going to get. And that is, for me, the most important thing. Is it's not just about what we're trying to do. It's about what those people who have taken the time to listen to your music, you've engaged with them, you've got to know them as an artist. You then start to invest in that individual. Go on and support them, because I've noticed through Twitter, a lot of bands, they tend to hunt in packs. A lot of similar bands get played on the similar sort of radio stations, and they're all following each other and tweeting and commenting and being generally involved in each other's music and looking forward to when somebody else has a release out. Auntie G popped up on Twitter, and I just thought it was fantastic. So we've got to share that. We've got to make sure that we're sharing Auntie G's music with our audience, because there's going to be people out there who need to listen to her. And it's about creating that really supportive vibe across social media, across these platforms, YouTube and the various Facebook groups. But it's the most vital thing, is holding each other up the whole time. And yeah, as I keep saying, you know, when Glenn and Gary both had music played on the radio station, that gave me the biggest buzz. I could go back to being a fanboy, you know, a Glenn Clark fanboy for about 10 minutes, listening to stuff on the radio. And then what's great is I can then go and have a conversation with them about it, you know. So yeah, you've got to hold each other up. And one promise I'll make to everybody, and that is, you know, if you're releasing stuff, you're getting stuff on the radio station, you know, I will do everything I can through our social media channels to do just that, to create that positive voice for you, and make sure that you know, other artists and people following us get to hear you and get to know you as well. Because it's just important for us that you guys get exposure, because it reminds us of why we started creating music, and that's purely to connect with people. And if we can connect you with more people, we've done our job. It's fantastic. So yeah. This is the most vital step, holding each other up. Simple as that.
Yeah, you've got to look at it like a LinkedIn page, but with actual depth, you know, because we're actually creating something. We're not a bunch of robots. RTG wrote earlier, I've been through the Indigo Sunset's whole Twitter follow list, and it's gotten me quite a few radio plays. So thanks, guys. See, it doesn't take much. And I want to... Yeah,
honestly, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, can you ask? I want to bring up a story too. Like, so I saw Nick Hamby. This is just talking about the terrestrial radio station that we've been getting airplay on. Now, Nick Hamby got airplay on this show on the Casey Beat. I saw that it was local radio for me, and I thought, oh, I might join this Casey Beat page. Joined the page, sent a message via Messenger to the host, David, and was like, "Here's my music. I know Nick," and he was like, "Great. Send me MP3s. I did all the stuff, labeled my songs, did all that, sent it all in an email, exactly the same thing as what we've talked about today. And so that got to him. It was within 4 days the show was on, and there was my song. And then as time went on, you know, it was like 3 weeks of hearing my song. I was like, you know, Pete's music should be played on here as well. And I know what Pete's like. He's really lazy. So I just took the initiative, and this is what it's about supporting your community of musicians as well. And I just went and made sure I bought all of Pete's music, converted them all into MP3 myself, put together my own little promo package for Pete, and sent them off as well. And the next week he was playing Pete's music as well. Again, it's that sourcing other material, because again, we've talked about the radio stations are always looking for artists to play. And if you can bring up all those artists around you that you like as well, these people who run these stations are just going to want to deal with you more. You're bringing them more business, you know.
Absolutely. And you know, it goes back to that whole point as well I made at the beginning. You know, if getting on the radio isn't what you want to do, you just want to share your music, you know, that in itself should be is equally supported and celebrated, whether it's enough to have your song played on Pete's show minus the guitar solo. You know, it's that is just as important. And you know, we've just got to hold each other up, and as I keep saying, some of my favorite musicians are people that I've met over the last 9 months while we've been on this process of recording our own album, and these are people that I'm listening to every single day now, and why wouldn't you want to celebrate them getting a little bit of airtime and a little bit of success and a little bit more bit more of a following. You know, it just makes total sense to me. And yeah, as you keep saying, Jade, you know, we're all warts, so let's celebrate and just keep holding each other up.
Yeah, 100%. Is there anything else you want to go over before I remember to do the thing at the end?
Well, I don't want to say much more because you've got to get that app out. You've got to do that. You've got to do that giveaway.
Yeah.
But no, I think for me, just to reiterate that, you know, that commitment that we will do everything that we can to support you guys. You know, by sharing and retweeting and just generally celebrating with you when you start having success, because that's the important thing for us. You know, and yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I just really genuinely hope that some of the things that me and Jade have been talking about tonight resonates with you, and you at least try some of the approaches we've suggested, because it is possible. You know, I don't have any magic sauce to make this happen. It just purely has been a lot of hard work, a lot of research, getting yourself organized, getting everything in the right place, and then just approaching people in the right way. And then once you've done that part, just making sure that you absolutely support not just the people playing your music, but other artists on these stations as well, because they need you just as much as everybody else does.
Sure, there are a couple of other things we should go through too, just on the networking stuff and social and distro and stuff. Spotify. Let's just briefly talk about playlists and stuff, all right? Because I just want to have my say briefly. Stop focusing so much on trying to get on a playlist, all right? And your vanity metrics on your downloads and your streams. If you start forgetting about that kind of stuff and focusing on, look, it's fantastic to get that feedback, that instant feedback that we've all grown to get. And if you're not getting those comments on Facebook of people going, I really like your song, don't take it to heart. Go back to the beginning of what we said the show. What are you making music for? Right? This instant gratification thing isn't always great for your health and well-being, okay? And checking those statistics on Spotify and desperately trying to get onto those Spotify playlists, because a lot of the time those Spotify playlists are actually all about the people running the playlists. And they don't give a fuck about you.
No.
They don't give a shit about you.
I got contacted out the blue by somebody who was having a go at me for not sharing their Spotify playlist because I was on there and I hadn't got a clue we were even on there. I was kind of at first, who are you? Why are you contacting me? Again, direct message on Twitter. And I'm thinking, where's this guy coming from? And I go on there and I thought, well, I'll have a look and see what he's on about. And there's like literally 2 streams on there, and I was like, well, I don't know where you're coming from. I didn't ask you to put my music on your playlist, and the fact I haven't shared it now is suddenly my problem. It was a bit of it wasn't a pleasant experience. But I don't get, and I think this is where I'm always struggling. I did myself think, oh, okay, a playlist is the way to go. Because I saw everybody being on these playlists and sharing it, and I was kind of like, oh, do I need to be on playlists? But then when I started looking into it a little bit more, and then using the experience that I've found with actually being on playlists that I didn't ask for us to be put on, it didn't make that much difference. And the point is, you're very right, though, Jed, because it's very easy. When you open up a Spotify Artists app, the first thing it hits you is how many streams you've had. Yep. What it isn't telling you is who's listened to you. Who are those people? Who have you actually connected with? And that's the really important thing. I often go in and see, where we've been played, and I'm seeing like Skopje in Macedonia. I'm kind of like, I love that, the fact that one person has listened to one of my songs in Macedonia. I think that is just awesome, absolutely awesome. So don't get hung up on those figures. It doesn't fundamentally matter. You've got to really return back to that very, very start question, why are you doing this? And if it's for the numbers, you're just going to get depressed and you're going to get fed up with it, because I hate to say it, no matter how much hard work you're going to put into it, you're not going to get 100,000 streams immediately. Yeah. It's not going to happen. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
And look, yeah, go for it.
No, I was just saying, it just returns back to, remember who you're connecting with. And the one thing Spotify is good for is showing you where these people are. And, I just love the fact that, as I say, somebody in Skopje has listened to my, our music. It's fabulous. So just keep returning back to that. Why are we doing this?
And look, and back to radio just for a second. One of the other things which I find really exciting about radio is you don't know who's listening to it, but somebody is. So it's not always about those vanity metrics, as Pete's written here. It says, Jade, are you saying that there are dodgy folks out there collecting vanity metrics? How dare you? Yes, there are. And if you join Clubhouse, you'll see there's people making millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars collecting data for this kind of stuff. But sometimes the excitement of releasing a song to a radio station and hearing it played back, be it terrestrial or internet, and not knowing who those people are, but knowing somebody's listening to it somewhere. That's the excitement, man. That's where I feel like Big Kev here from the radio commercial, TV commercials here. Be excited about your music. Be excited. Know that somebody's listening to it. You don't exactly need to know the numbers all the time. The numbers can bring you down. They can crush you. They can make you feel like shit. But at the same time, and you brought this up too, getting your music played on these radio stations doesn't mean you're going to get instant streams on. So don't be expecting that as well. Oh, but I got played on all these stations. Why aren't my streams going up? You know, be aware of that. And can I just say one more thing too? Don't be afraid to, if you've got a day spare and you've got an iPad laying on the floor, go and turn on your own music on Apple or Spotify and put it on loop for 24 hours. There's no shame in making some money back listening to your own music. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't see a problem with it, with doing something like that, because it's still not a lot of money, right? But if you're going to listen to your own music, you should be listening to your own music. You should love your music and listen to it. And hell, if you're going to listen to it, throw it on a streaming service and listen to it yourself. And that helps you understand that those vanity metrics mean fuck all. They really don't.
Yeah. Exactly. And it is so easy to get pulled into that trap in terms of thinking, measuring the success of your music on, you know, how many people have actually listened to it. And I'm just going to share this little story now, which kind of summed up the whole process for me, because I go back and I originally thought I was recording music for me. And I don't mind saying this, but a guy I know, he'd struggled really, really badly with COVID, and he was in a hospital, he was on a ventilator, and he was in a really bad way. And we released the album at the point where he was just about starting to recover. And he started listening to the music, and he contacted me and said, actually, one of your songs was my song I would listen to every day, which meant that I could actually do this. And that floored me. That absolutely floored me, that something that me and Stuart put together had helped somebody through that whole process. And that probably answered the question, why do you do it? It was for people to feel something alongside you. And that was, sounds really pretentious, and I get that, but that absolutely floored me in terms of why am I creating music? And, if I don't do any other music, the fact I've had that moment with that one individual has made it absolutely worthwhile. So you've got to remember that it's not about the vanity metrics, it's about the people that you are actually connecting with. And radio is just another medium to reach more people who may listen to your song only once, but you've still connected with that person.
Yeah. And look, I've had many of those emails over the time, many connections over the time of my 35 years plus, and I'll tell you, nothing will ever beat just some of those emails where I had an email from somebody once who said that one of my songs, Do What Makes You Happy, stopped them from taking their own life.
Yeah. Do
you really need anything else? That's one connection. You could take all the money in the fucking world, you could stick it up your ass. That's it. And that stuff will come, and that stuff that happens all the time for artists. So, yeah. And look, I'm not saying, Tom Michelle wrote, do they allow that? Can't you get removed for playing your own music too much? I'm not saying to put your own music on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, man. I'm saying if you're going to listen to your music for a day, or you're cleaning the house or something, put it on and stream it. You know what else it does for you? It gives you an idea of how much you can earn from an amount of streams. It's a really good way to actually understand. And somebody else touched too, we won't go too much into it, about copywriting your songs for radio. Look, it's another good thing. It's probably something we could do another show on. Here in Australia, all my songs are with APRA. It's free to sign up here in Australia, and it's the Australian Recording Artist, whatever it stands for. And any radio station who plays your music, if you have your music signed up to them for free, each song all listed with them, you do get money at the end of the year, because radio stations have to submit running sheets through. So have a look into that. That's on a deeper level. Maybe we can come back and do another show on that in a month's time or something, because it's another thing to do, and it ties into playing gigs and radio airplay and TV spots. So you can...
Well, that's going to be the next thing. That's going to be the next thing, isn't it? When we all start getting released back into lockdown again, it is then how do you go about actually performing your stuff for those who are actually thinking of getting out there and doing live? Because me and Stuart absolutely bursting to get out and perform this stuff live. We've got the connection through our covers band. So we're going to go out there and hopefully start performing. But yeah, that's the next step now. It is then building that fan base and getting that following, people that actually want to pay money to come and see you perform these songs then. So there's a lot of mileage in this music.
Yeah. All right, well, let's do that. Let's kind of slot this in maybe for a month's time or something, or 3 weeks or so. We'll come back and we'll talk about registering your songs, and you can have a look into that too, where you're at if you haven't already.
Yep.
And then we'll reconverge
sure.
and talk about that. And talk about live stuff and that next. So look, I hope you've all enjoyed the show and got something from it. Remember, so Performing Rights Society, I think Colin's put here, PRS. Here it's APRA. No, those things are normally free to do. So, all right. So thank you very much, Andy, for all your valuable information. I'm so glad you allowed me to facilitate this today. I hope you've all got plenty from this today in the chat. And remember, if you're already a part of a Clubhouse, or come and join us. We're going to jump over. I'll start a room. If just follow me. So my if you're not already, which is at Jade Starr. If you're already following me, I can invite you into the room. We're going to make it private for today, and we'll just hang out for an hour or so and see what happens. So thank you all for being here. Any goodbyes? You can say goodbye and do your thing.
I just want to say, firstly, Stu, missing you, buddy. Yeah. And I can't wait for us to obviously get back on again. And to everybody on the chat today, I haven't been able to see what's coming through because obviously I'm peering into an iPhone screen at the moment. But I chat to you all in the chat when I'm not normally on the screen anyway. But no, thank you all for being here. And I just hope some of the things that me and Jade have shared tonight have actually helped you guys, because that was the whole point of doing this. And I'll see you all over on the Clubhouse. And just one more thing, Jade, do not forget to do your giveaway.
Oh man, well done, thank you. I just looked at it as you're saying it. So folks, let's do this. We do have a giveaway. I think we've got how many codes? I can't even remember how many codes. I think it was two codes. Let me check how many codes. God, that's terrible. So I've got 2 copies to give away of segments. So let's bring up the webpage. Man, I always forget to do the giveaways. It's shocking, man. Where's my giveaway page? Here it is. Random number generator. Let's bring up the note. Oh, man, I hate that. All right. Oops. Let's. I got to go to a full screen, don't I? Let's do this and take you out of the picture because you're still in. Sorry, you can stay there. Let's leave you there. All right, where are we? So here's our little random number generator, and we need to bring up our notepad and segments. Okay, so we got 27 people, folks, who entered this. So I better change the number in here to 27. So good luck. We got 2 copies of segments to give away, and there we go. Good luck. Let's hit the first one. Is number 25. So number 25 is, and Colin is in the chat. So well done, Colin. You have won a copy of Segments FX, and the last copy to give away is number 18, which is Chris Woodrow. So I'll leave a pinned comment at the top of the actual video and this video with my deets, and you can email me and I'll send you a code, and that will be all good. Thank you, Andy, so very much for reminding me, because damn, every show I forget. Look, thank you for coming on. Thanks for letting me facilitate this fantastic information. Get on it, guys. We're all warts. We all rise together. Make mistakes. Make them often. They make you better. Do what makes you happy. Keep making great music. And we will see you over on the Clubhouse. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for another show. Thank you, Andy. We love you, Stu. Thinking of you, mate. And we'll see you again, folks. Take care. Goodbye. And adios. Oh, I need to play my outro music, yeah? Let's do some of that. Outro music. Outro. Let's just go out with this.